Hi, my name is Deb Johnston and welcome to Women Reinventing Midlife TV, where we aim to inspire women over 50 to thrive in a meaningful life that you deeply desire and deserve. Here you're going to find real life content from women over 50 to inspire you to reinvent any aspect of your life, together with tips and content around mindset, wellness, and style to guide you to build confidence and vitality in your 50s, 60s, 70s, and beyond. And today we have a really inspirational story to share with you because I'm joined by Anne Hilarius-Ford. She's a holistic practitioner and a lifestyle advocate who's based in Coolangatta, which is a beautiful part of Queensland, Australia. Now, believe it or not, when you're looking at her, she's almost 72, which is hard to believe, isn't it? She's a mother of 2 and grandmother of 3, and she's energetic, she's focused, she's living her life to the fullest, and she's passionate to give women the confidence to do greater later living during menopause and beyond. Now, for 30 years, Anne was looking for what she wanted to do. She knew there was something out there, but she couldn't find it until she was faced with the challenge of a marriage breakdown. And she's going to share that story with us today. Anne, welcome, welcome, welcome. I'm so glad that you've been able to join us.
Well, thank you so much, Deb, for inviting me. It's lovely to be here with you.
I'm really glad. And we have known each other for a long time because we used to live not far away from each other in Trinity Beach here, didn't we?
Yeah.
And I've seen you change so much from the person that I met 10 years ago, maybe 12
years ago.
Yeah, so much, and do so many different things. So you mentioned the challenge of a marriage breakdown. Tell us a little bit about that, because so many women are actually faced with this at some point in their lives.
I know it's, I never thought, well, I was thinking it wouldn't happen because I was really happy in my marriage. But when it broke down, I first pointed a finger but really thinking about what happened and why it happened, analyzing my own background, my own experiences in life growing up, and thinking about my first husband's years of growing up from a child losing his mum when he was 3. She died. We both had quite traumatic experiences growing up. And when we came to 22 years of marriage, things started to change, and we had some issues and we weren't able to deal with it because he met someone.
Right.
Now I can laugh about it, but at the time it was a big shock. And the thing is, with a marriage breakdown or a relationship breakdown, the person who breaks down the relationship verbally, who says, that's it for me, they've had time to think about it before. So they've had time to grieve before. The person who hears about it goes through that process afterwards. And that's where I was. And I had no family where I was, but I've come out the better end. A friend introduced me to her Reiki master. So I became a Reiki channel and eventually a Reiki master teacher myself. And then reflexology came into my life. So after searching for 30 years for something I knew was there and I couldn't find it, suddenly it was there. And I've been able to say to my first husband, my ex-husband, I was able to say, thank you very much for leaving, because now I'm doing what I love doing.
It's helped you grow into who you are. Yeah. And more than likely who you were always meant to be anyway.
Yes, my life is so much richer. I'm no longer hiding behind, a wall or people to stay safe. I am safe no matter where I am.
Yes. And that's a great realization to have, isn't it? It helps us step out of our comfort zone and start to really explore with life and what we want from life, rather than staying where we think it's safe. And as you found, it wasn't that safe after all. because it's
No.
integrated. Yeah.
Exactly. And I had a moment where I was really very touched. My middle sister, both my sisters live in Belgium still, where we grew up, even though we're Dutch. And she called me and she said, I wish I was there and I could hug you.
Yeah.
And that really touched me. I had no family. Well, I have no family in Australia. So it's, yeah.
I totally get it, because I was in my 30s when I went through that, but I was the same. I had no family in Australia. My father was in Australia, but he was in another state and we didn't have any contact. So I was virtually in Australia alone, raising kids on my own. So I get it 100%. Yeah. 100%. And so that was a big challenge. I think a marriage breakdown, especially after so many years, is one of the greatest life challenges, isn't it?
It is. And I know that any traumatic event in your life, when you work on understanding what happened and why it happened, and it is not only the other person, but it's yourself as well. You bring your own life experiences, your own trauma, your own thinking, all that you bring into it. And when you understand the energetic connection between all those things, you can step above it and you can move forward.
Yeah.
And it doesn't happen overnight, though, unfortunately.
That's I think that's the important thing. It doesn't happen overnight, and we get so impatient, don't we? We get so impatient that we want to be on the other side of the challenge, but it's actually the moving through the challenge that gives us the growth and gives us the evolution in our own life. But while we're in it, we don't see it. We just want it to end.
Exactly. And now I can talk to anybody I meet. In the past, I didn't do that. And now I get that richness in my life of connecting with people.
Yeah, I love it. And so you would have been in your 40s when that happened?
I was 47 when I first heard about it. And then for 2 years, we tried to fix things, but it didn't work. And yes, when I was 49, I started to study reflexology, and I still do it and I still love it. It's just an amazing modality. It doesn't get enough recognition yet worldwide. It deserves it, though.
Mm-hmm. I remember that's what you were doing when I first met you. It was reflexology. Yeah. And I agree. I go to a healer here in Cairns, because you're not here now. You're in Coolangatta, which is way away.
My arms are not long enough.
That's right. And she massages points on my feet that relate to my adrenals. And wow, I go, wow, that is so sore. What is that? And it's the adrenals. Yeah. Incredible that you can heal another body part from the feet.
Oh, it's totally. I worked, if I may share this, I worked with a young woman who was in her 30s and she didn't have children and she couldn't leave home without a toilet map. And after 2-3 treatments, things improved. And after a while, her mum came to have a treatment with me as well before they both moved back to New Zealand. Yeah. And the mum said, yesterday we were walking in the city and we walked for about 3-4 hours and she didn't have to go to the toilet, her daughter. Wow. It's wonderful. So it works at that deep level.
Yeah. I know for me, after having a treatment, I wake up the next day and I feel like my energy has risen. And a lot of it has been due to what she's done to my feet, which is really incredible. Really incredible. And we push our poor little feet into all these ill-fitting shoes as well, don't we? Oh my gosh.
Yeah, I know. It's they, instead of being like this, like a baby's foot, they're now like this.
Yeah.
And the bones are squashed as well.
Right. Yeah, that's right.
We've all done it, or we still do it.
We've all done it. Yeah. And so you mentioned, and I love what you said about the challenge of your marriage breakup, that it's actually never just one person. It's the coming together of the two people and the energy associated with that. And you mentioned that you've both been through traumas as well.
Yes. And some people cannot understand it, or they're closed at a much deeper level, which was his case.
Yeah.
And because the trauma he had was quite different, and he dealt with it differently. But yes, it's always two people involved. Yeah. And I had at one stage that I woke up one morning and I had a lot of pain in this joint. And I had to go to the doctor for something. And I mentioned it to him. He said, "Oh, that's arthritis and you've got it for life." And I thought, no. And I would have been 52 or something. And I suddenly started to think about the metaphysical aspect. I thought, I'm pointing the finger at him. So stop doing that. Yeah. And the pain disappeared and never came back.
Oh my gosh.
Yep.
That's incredible. And it was that pointing finger.
Exactly. And the right one. And I'm right-handed. It's your fault.
It's
not your fault.
Yeah. Yeah, because any relationship that comes together, and especially the more challenging ones, can teach us so much about ourselves, can't they?
Absolutely. And our relationship wasn't challenging. I was really happy. But obviously we started to realize things weren't totally right. But it was only when he left that I started this journey that led me to today. And I was able to say to him, thank you, because I love where I am now.
Yeah. Yeah.
And as I say to people, there's light at the end of the tunnel, but you don't know how long the tunnel is.
Yeah. Yeah, that's right. You don't know how long the tunnel is.
No.
And, you know, and there's often the viewpoint that trauma holds you back, and it can if you let it. Certainly can if you let it, but it can be the greatest catalyst, can't it, for us moving forward?
Yeah, absolutely. It's really understanding what happened, how you react. All that is important, and there are various ways of getting help. I know that seeing a psychologist helps, but I've heard from someone that seeing a psychologist can bring PTSD, post-traumatic stress disorder, because you rehash all your experiences and it can become more prominent. So it may not work for everyone to see a psychiatrist or psychologist. There are other ways of dealing with these experiences that you want to resolve. And we all find our own way to do it, hopefully.
Yeah, and that's a really great insight to share. It's being open to the different ways of doing it as well, and noticing the opportunities when they come in, because when we're ready to grow, they do come in. We see them. Yeah,
exactly. Yeah.
And it's having the courage to actually do it.
Yes, because you come out the better way. It's not, it may be scary at the start, but it is not. It's I see it really like you climb a mountain and then you come to a little plateau somewhere, and then you climb further, and then eventually you come to the valley.
Yeah. Yeah. Nice. The richness of the valley.
Yeah. With the creek and sunflowers and sun.
I love it. I love it. Fantastic. So for you, how did you do it? How did you go through that process of learning and growing? Was it with a psychologist, or was it through your studies with Reiki and reflexology?
I've seen my share of psychiatrists and psychologists. And the first one I saw, I was 27, and I knew the dots, but I wanted something to connect them. And he was very insightful. And I discovered one big thing, And after that, I've seen some that one psychiatrist, he was just writing things down and there was nothing happening. And with the psychologist as well, I wasn't coming to a resolution.
Yeah.
But it is working with a couple of other people who worked on an energetic level, not Reiki necessarily, but on an energetic level. That helped me to, and also one person has some online courses where you go through a process to understand some of the steps that can happen in life. And when I found, the word abuse, that's when I realized, and it's all fine, but that's when I came to realize what happened, and that's when I got peace with it. Yeah.
And that awareness, and just one word just set
Yeah.
the light bulb off. Yeah. Incredible. Yeah. Hey. Yeah, really incredible. So energetic work. And sometimes with energetic work, you don't actually have to talk about it, do you? I
Exactly.
know. Yeah. That's
Yeah.
right.
Yeah.
And I love what you said, because sometimes talking about it too much can actually cement it in a bit more. It's about moving on from it while you're healing. Yeah.
Exactly, because what you think is who you are, they say, and it's really changing the way you think and the way you look at life and the way you look at yourself and how you interact with people and the things you do. If you have that in a different time frame, in a different mindset, then you can move on and you step up with yourself and with others as well.
Yeah, so true, isn't it?
Yeah.
So very true. And I love that, you are what you think.
Yeah.
And even noticing what was happening with your finger, the mind-body connection there, and understanding that the way we think can actually affect us, not just on a mental level, but emotionally and physically as well.
Oh, absolutely. I see clients who have had big diagnoses like breast cancer, for example.
Yeah.
And I always ask what happened in their lives around that time. And one lady said that her partner walked away with her best friend. And so she lost two important people in her life. But at the same time, being 38, what was stolen from her was that she could no longer have children. And the breast cancer was that the nurturing part in her life had disappeared.
Yeah.
And it can be, it's a subconscious thing for most people. But yes, our emotions and our thinking are a big part of who we are and how our health is, our energy levels, all that.
I agree. And I often wonder, Anne, I mean, that my mum died when I was in my late 20s. So that, as I've shared with you, me and my father, and that she died with breast cancer. And the first time she was diagnosed with the primaries was when I was leaving the country. And I've always been able to see that connection. It's like, was it the morning of the loss of me going to the other side of the world, and trying to hold on to that actually caused it to happen? Because that's the nurturing part. It's where the breasts are. It's where we nourished our young. Yeah,
absolutely. And it's also another lady I know, her marriage stayed alive until she died, but she had breast cancer. She was diagnosed twice within 8 years. And the marriage seemed okay, but there was no love. And she missed that.
Yeah.
And in that situation, it may be better for them to separate and find their own way. But they felt both were committed to each other. We've have our vows, so we stayed together. And it doesn't always serve the purpose to the benefit of each individual.
That's a good point to make. really good point to make. It's, yeah, at that stage, you either work on the relationship, or if you don't want to work on the relationship, then go your own separate ways, because it's the level of happiness you feel in your relationship. I mean, that takes up a lot of time in a week, is going to have an influence over your health.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Again, it's what we think, and our emotions. They're very important.
So important. Yeah. Yeah, really important. And so you work a lot with that too, don't you? So you work a lot with that too, don't you? Around thinking, emotions, physical health. Yeah.
And relationships as well. It's an important part. Like when we go through menopause, as our hormones change, our relationships can change, because your mood is different, how you react, your patience, everything can change. And suddenly your partner thinks, that's not the person I married. Who is this?
It's true.
They change as well, but they don't notice. Because they suddenly want to prove to themselves that, hey, younger women still like me. They still want me. I'm still young. I'm still, the male. Yeah. So having the woman going through the menopause, changing hormones, and the man wanting to prove to himself he's still desirable, it clashes. So that's where it's important to talk to each other and do research about what's happening to both.
So important.
Yeah.
And because, a lot of the time we women are not really fully informed of what's happening to us. So because we don't have that understanding, it's really challenging to try and explain it to our partner.
It is. And I did a 3-hour presentation last Sunday to members of the Reflexology Association about menopause, and showed them how to work on the feet as well to support women.
Wow.
And at the end, a couple of them, and they have been practitioners for quite a while, they said, oh, this is what's happening to me. My daughter told me, Mum, your temper is short and you're moody.
Yeah.
And she said, now I understand why. And I thought, if I haven't achieved anything else, that's wonderful.
It's awesome, because she has also received the education for when it comes to her transition later as well.
Exactly. And she can pass that on to her clients.
That's right.
Yeah.
Wow, that's really awesome. And this is what we need, is with that information, and that education needs to get out there, so that for us personally, but also for the generations coming behind us as well, because the more we talk about it now, the more that you get out there and share the word now, the more likely that women are going to be more prepared when they reach this stage of life. They're going to be prepared for what happens, for what they experience, and have the information to be able to share with their partners, their children. Big difference.
Yeah, totally.
Yeah, big difference.
It's a stage in our lives, and once we're out of it, we can.
Yeah, which is what you've done. And I said that to you when we first jumped on, before we pressed the record button. I said to you, when I first met you, I knew what you were doing then, but I'm seeing you doing so many different things now. And what I really want to highlight here, ladies watching, what I want to really highlight here is that belief as it's too late. It's never too late. I mean, you're in your 70s and you're still evolving and growing with what you're doing with your work.
Well, I'm 72 in 3 days.
That's amazing. Happy birthday.
Yes, it's really exciting. I've even had with my 8-year-old grandson, I was running up the stairs and he said, Oma, why are you running? I said, because I can.
Exactly.
And it's good for me. Yeah.
It is. It is. How cool is that though, to be able to keep up with our grandkids? Like, it's really awesome, isn't it?
It is. It's wonderful. And late last year, we were in the park and he said, "Oh, can you do cartwheels?" And I said, I used to do them a lot when I was a teenager, when we were on the beach and all that. And I said, but I haven't done them for decades. And because we were on the grass, I thought, I'll try.
You did
I did it.
Oh my gosh. I don't think I've ever done a cartwheel.
Yeah.
Oh, good on you.
and as I say to clients, we're all different. We can't all do the same things. My body likes gymnastics when we did it at school and all that. So, and not everyone has that same, like, other people like walking, and good on them. It's wonderful. Keep moving.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah. I'm a bit of a walker. I love my walking. Yeah.
And you love your yoga.
I love my yoga. Yeah. It's really about finding what you enjoy, isn't it?
Yeah.
It really is. And you definitely look like a gymnast. You're built like one.
I probably think, knowing what I know now, if I were to go back, which I don't want to do anyway, but if I were to go back, I probably would love to be a gymnast, but not being pushed the way they are. You can't put on weight, you're too fat, and that I don't agree with that at all. No one does, really. It's moving within your ability and with working with your own body. And that's with yoga as well. With yoga, you really work within your own range of motion, really.
That's my mantra. Exactly. That's what I say to all my students. It's really doing what's most comfortable for you. There's a little tiny bit of challenge, but the difference between challenge and pushing. There's a real big difference. Yeah, I agree. So mobility is really important, is to maintain that mobility, because it's like, if you don't use it, you lose it, don't you?
Exactly. And it's also looking after your joints, your bones, your hips, and your shoulders. They're all important joints to keep healthy and mobile and lubricated as well. Yeah,
absolutely. And I love yoga for that. I really love yoga for that. I know after my dad passed away, I had talking about issues in the joints. I had severe pain in my left hip, and it wouldn't go away. And in fact, it was getting worse. And I had a couple of healings, and then I moved into yoga, and over time, the emotion released with the yoga practice. So it was actually the grief that was lodged in my hip. Incredible, isn't it?
Yeah.
Ooh.
Oh, it's who we are. We are vulnerable, and it is okay to be vulnerable. But it is good to know what it is and what the origin of it is. And once you know that, you can work with it.
Yeah. Absolutely. Yeah. So, I mean, that's why I love the work that you're doing, because you're helping people energetically, but you're also helping them through their body identify issues, which is really incredible.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, it's beautiful. It's when you hear feedback from a client, it makes my heart sing. And sharing my life experiences as well, how I see other people can work with their own lives and with themselves. When I hear the feedback from what I share, is also heartwarming.
Yeah, I bet it is. I bet it is. And that's how it is when you really want to make a difference, when you get that feedback. It's so great to hear it, isn't it?
It is.
Yeah, so great.
And I remember sitting on a bench in Trinity Beach, looking at the ocean. We were talking with a little group, and I mentioned I was still working, even though I didn't do much. And one lady became quite defensive and said, "No, I don't want to work anymore. I hate my work." And I thought, you poor thing, you must have had a job that was not what you wanted to do. and she was 60, so she was still young.
Wow.
But I think that if I hadn't found my purpose, I may have been in the same boat. So I'm hugely grateful, and I feel blessed that I found what I found.
Yeah, amazing. And it took the challenge of a marriage breakdown to find it. Isn't that incredible? Yeah. Yeah. There's
After 30 years of searching.
There's always a gift in a challenge, isn't there? But that was a pretty big gift. Yeah.
It's a life-changing gift. It's huge.
Huge. And where can our viewers find you?
Oh, thank you for asking. I've got two websites. The reflexology one is energyreflexology.com.au. And the other one is in my name, which is showing here. Otherwise, the spelling is a bit challenging for a lot of people. So it's Anne Hilarius-Ford in one word, all lowercase, .com.
Nice.
So I keep the reflexology on one side and the other work on the other side. But yeah.
Fantastic.
Thank you.
Fantastic. Thank you. And you can find the live link to contact Anne in the description notes underneath this video. So just go down underneath the video and click on the description notes, and there'll be a live link in there that you can access and connect with Anne from there directly.
Thank you.
Thank you. Is there anything else that you'd like to leave our viewers with before you finish? Any other insightful words or anything inspirational?
Well, you're saying that I'm thinking of women. We have been hidden for too long, for centuries, and some still are today due to their culture, religion, or whatever.
Yeah.
We have a right of place, and we can be visible till the day we die. We don't become invisible when we reach menopause. It's still, we have insights, we've got wisdom, and we can support our community, our children. So trust that you have all that you need to do just that.
Thank you. That's awesome.
Thank you.
Thank you. I love that. It's really our choice, isn't it? Whether we stay visible or not. It really is.
It's a choice when we're aware of it. Because I see clients coming in and they have a bit of pain here, a bit of pain there. Oh, I'm old. And they're 48, 50. And so it's supporting them to uplift and to see an opportunity ahead of them.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. Thank you, Anne. And hopefully conversations like this are going to create that awareness that there is a choice. Yeah. Love it. Thank you so much for joining me.
Thank you, and see you soon.
See you soon. And thank you everyone for tuning in. If you found this video helpful, remember to give us a thumbs up and share this video with your friends, because we can all benefit from these kind of insights in this phase of life. If you want to see more videos like these, remember to subscribe to the channel and click the bell for notifications so you don't miss out. And thank you again. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Deb. It was a great pleasure and an honor to be here with you. And I love your work as well. You're doing amazing stuff for women.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. And thank you for joining us, everyone. Thank you for your time. And I'll look forward to connecting with you next time. Lots of love.